Welcome, everyone, to episode 2 of MC, True Long Island Story. I'm your host, the internet champion, always ready, Matt Cardona.
And I'm also here, producer of the show, Smart Mark Sterling, here for MC True, episode 2. Matt, I'm excited, and we have some great feedback.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who listened, whether it be downloading the podcast or watching on YouTube, because there's two ways to take this in, and I really, really appreciate the feedback. Was awesome, and it's going to be a slow build, so we need your help. Spread the word. Get it out there. That's very, very important, and we appreciate everything. We appreciate all the listens, all the feedback, all the comments.
Yeah.
People seem to be excited. The reviews were great.
What's the best way, if somebody's listening to this or watching this on YouTube, what's the best way to sort of connect with the show, like on social media and all that?
I mean, the comments on YouTube are fantastic. I always read them. I think the best way is to tweet us and use the hashtag MC True Long Island Story.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way.
So your personal Twitter, I'm at Silver Intuition. There's at Major Pod Network you can follow. There is at Major WF Pod. So there's a lot of ways.
Yeah, and every week we're doing this. If you leave a review, I will pick a review, and you will be the broski of the week. It's coming back. Mark, you were the broski of the week last week. How was your week being the broski of the week? Did you get
great. You know what I did? I bought the broski of the week shirt, so I gave you $7.99 or whatever you get from the royalties.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Well, I'll send you the sticker, because from now on, if I read your review on air, you will be the broski of the week. You will get this exclusive sticker. I love that we're also visual. I can show you.
Sure.
Look at that sticker, designed by TTD Wrestling. This shirt is also, anyone can buy the shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com/Matt Cardona. But if you are the broski of the week, you will get this sticker. That's the only way to get this sticker. And also, I figured if we're going to give away an 8x10 for Know Your Bro, I feel like broski of the week is more important than Know Your Bro.
Yep.
So you'll get the sticker and the 8x10.
Oh, hell yeah.
Double prizes for leaving that review. So I have the review. I figure I picked the review.
Yep.
You picked the Know Your Bro.
Got it.
Okay.
Perfect. So broski of the week, here we go.
The broski of the week. Should we add in that little jingle?
Hell yeah, we should.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah.
The broski of the week.
All right. The broski of the week. Let me get it. You're never going to believe who this guy is.
Okay. I think I might know, but let's see.
At Johnny Cisco 52.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, Johnny Cisco, big fan of the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, but also probably more famously, big Zack Ryder fan.
Well, okay, listen to this. First, he writes this and then posts the review, so I'll read everything.
Okay.
I will be broski of the week finally. I should have been in 2011, and I will be now. I love the old show, and I love the new show. Great job. And then for his review, he wrote, so happy this is a thing. I have been following Zack Ryder /Matt Cardona for over a decade now. Watching Z True Long Island Story was amazing fun. Witnessing the evolution of Matt as a wrestler and a host to see what he does today on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast and all its various side projects is remarkable. Hearing the backstories of one of my favorite YouTube shows ever is a unique experience. Thank you, Matt and Mark, for doing this. Hashtag Forever Broski. Well, Johnny Cisco, you are the broski of the week. And since you are the first recipient of this sticker, I will send you 2, and I will put a number 1 on one of them. So you will get the first ever broski of the week sticker.
I love that. And he may be the only broski of the week on planet Earth that owns a Zack Ryder lawn gnome, right?
The garden gnome.
Yeah, the garden.
He's in the gnome club.
Yep.
We'll talk about that in the Weird Merch in future episodes. But guys, if you want to be broski of the week, just leave a review. And people said, I don't have iTunes. I have an Android. Whatever the thing is on Android, wherever you can leave a review, screenshot it, and tweet it to me using the hashtag broski of the week. I will pick the best or my favorite review. Be entertaining, right? Do whatever you got to do. Get my attention. And if I read it on air, you will be the broski of the week. So, and Johnny Cisco,
you can keep leaving those reviews too.
Yeah, you can. If you don't win once, try again.
Yeah.
You can be double broski of the week for all I care. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So yeah, Mark, I knew as soon as we recorded the last one, I'm like, oh, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much I forgot, or
Yep.
so much that came to me afterwards.
Yeah, I'm
and I think
embarrassed.
that's going to happen every week, which is great, which gives us more content.
Right. And
You
people
know?
ask questions, which is great. So this, I guess, will be a little good housekeeping for the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast
Little
fans.
follow-up ski, if you will, from episode 1.
Yeah. My big question, and people ask this, and I'm embarrassed, but we have to talk about it, and I think we should just lead with it. The name.
Okay, that's actually number 1 on here. Name of a show.
Yeah. How did you name it? I'm embarrassed I didn't ask that.
I'm embarrassed I didn't think about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But even the logo is a complete, and the name, complete ripoff.
Logo is actually, I purposely didn't ask
Yes.
about it because there's no logo in episode 1.
There is a logo in episode 2.
Logo, yes, exactly.
So episode 1 has nothing. Episode 2 starts with the logo. Now, this guy, Steve Zikos, or Zykos, I believe it's Steve Zikos, he would make me all the logos and stuff, or the majority.
Is he related to Alex Zikos?
No, and I'm not quite sure if he made the very first one. So if anyone can, so he made like the main one that we used throughout the whole history of the show. I'm not sure if he made the very, very first one. But really, the name of the show and the logo is inspired. Let me say inspired by E, True Hollywood Story.
Okay.
Get it? Z, True Long Island Story.
But it's not really anything remotely close to True Hollywood Story.
It's just the name.
Okay.
Because what was I going to call it? It needed a name.
Right. You said you kind of like wanted it to be like the soup from E, right? Soup or whatever.
Well, I mean, the content was very similar where I would take topical things and apply it to me.
Yep.
But I needed a name, and that show, True Hollywood Story, was pretty popular then.
Right. Okay.
So it was an easy spoof, if you will.
Right. And
just
you're
like this show,
recognizing fully that it had nothing topically to do with like a documentary style movie that shows how horrible something, some horrible thing that happened to somebody.
Yeah, it wasn't like, all the, the ghosts of the Poltergeist movies,
Or once we get to 2012, did something horrible happen to somebody.
But it was my story. It was my life. And it was a documentation of my career and my life. And that's another thing, too, now that we're on like the topic, like what was the purpose of the show? And we said before, I didn't create internet shows. I didn't create using social media. I wasn't the first, but I think I was the first person to take my life and my character and kind of mix them together, because even now there's not like, whatever your favorite show is, that character is not tweeting in character.
Right. This is a big problem just in
Right?
general. Yeah.
So the wrestling world is so odd where like you're tweeting like, I'm going to lay the smackdown on your candy ass. But also the next post could be you playing with your dog or your cat. Right. So I think that's the beauty. I think that's what makes wrestling so unique.
Yeah.
And now we're used to that, right? We're used to like, the Fiend is like burning people alive. And then there's a picture of him like with his family. We're used to that.
Right.
But back then it wasn't really commonplace. And I really wanted to, mesh those two worlds together. And also, like, I was using Facebook as Matt Cardona in my real life. I was using all that stuff. So
now, hold on a second. It's totally normal for people to be doing like vlogs now and things like that. You're telling me that in 2011, before you launched the show, you literally had it in your mind, I want to show people me.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to blend in me into Zack Ryder.
Wow. I mean, that is...
that even episode 1, it's all that stuff like thrown against the wall,
Your
but that's all
music.
elements of me.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it seems so normal now because that's what everybody does, but not in 2011.
Right. So that was my goal, was to, and we'll get into it in later episodes, I bring in my legitimate friends, my father, who have nothing to do with the business.
Right.
And of
then they kinda
course,
become-
you hear that phrase like, turn the volume all the way up. Like that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't walking around town with the headband and sunglasses, but I would film it as if I was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally get it.
And that's kind of, I think, what made me relatable is that people realize this guy is just a fan. He is just like us. Let's help him, And we'll get into that whole...
Well, yeah. There's something in this episode specifically that I'm like, aha, these are the like things that, started to really connect people.
Well, a couple other things.
Okay.
So last week after we recorded, I had to hack into my old computer.
Right.
To get the original footage. Right. So it was on my computer, but I couldn't get in because I couldn't remember my password of the computer. And I was talking to you talking to you about this in real time. I'm like, Mark, I've tried this password so many times that I forgot the password to my phone.
Right.
So like I had to like just shut my brain off for hours, and then I remembered the password to my phone, and then I was able to go on like Google or whatever and figure out how to hack into my own computer. And I was able to now I have all those files, all those original raw files. So we uploaded that.
We uploaded like raw footage from episode 1 of you sort of like literally you could see yourself like thinking, what do I say next?
Exactly.
It's pretty neat.
I thought that was very interesting.
Here's the deal, guys.
Yeah. What's the deal, man? And that came from during that era of Raw where I was dealing with the celebrities. I did something with Johnny Knoxville, and I don't know why I said it, but I'm like, hey, Knoxville, what's the deal, man? And like Ziggler thought it was the most hilarious thing. So that became my thing, like, what's the deal, man?
I see. All
right. And then I got hit by the big jackass hand, which, by the way, like they had to keep reshooting it. And like after a while, I kept flinching. And I'm like, guys, I know this giant jackass hand is going to hit me. I'm going to flinch. That's why we should have just did it one take or live.
Right.
What do you expect?
Okay.
Like, what do you expect?
This was
like, you know this, and it hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's weird.
Anyway, couple other things.
Okay.
Why is the channel, well, now it's kind of monetized, but then I didn't monetize anything because I knew I didn't want to get in trouble monetizing something. I knew I didn't own Zack Ryder. It's WWIP. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to monetize the channel and then think, oh, I'm trying to make money on the side off their IP. I was smart enough for that.
Right.
Later on, we'll talk about it. They ended up taking over the channel kind of and getting all the money that came in. Whatever. Another thing, I didn't know anything about editing. I certainly didn't know anything about thumbnails. So I didn't know. Now you can make your own thumbnail, create it. Yeah. Then every thumbnail that's up there is completely randomized. Luckily, the episode 1 thumbnail I actually like, but the majority of them I don't. Has nothing to do with like the main meat and potatoes of the episode. But I had no idea how to change that.
Right. Well,
just minor like editing things.
We have a guy who does all of our thumbnails.
Well, now we do. Now we have a guy, TTD.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing on my my list. So why I carried the flip cam and not a cell phone is because the flip cam, even though you're holding it vertically, it's still filmed horizontally. As opposed to, and my biggest pet peeve, if someone takes a video on a cell phone vertically, it comes out vertically. You can't put that on a video. You can't edit that into a video.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and you can't walk around with a cell phone like horizontally, like when you're doing an entrance and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's weird.
Right. But 2011, your cell phone video was not even remotely close to this flip. This flip was cheap. I had one. You know, as a videographer, I had a flip and it was way better than my phone. So if I was going to film something legit, like I'm on vacation or something like that, I would use the flip, not the phone. The phone was good for like something that's happening, really record it real quick.
Right.
But the footage was so much better in 2011. Now, man, the phone is great.
Yeah, we film everything with the phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
A couple other things I have in here. Okay, so I have to give a shout out to, and I do later in this real episode, Morrison and Miz. That's where I started doing the woo woo woo, was on their show, The Dirt Sheet. Right. And I was also doing it on Cabana's show. Scotty Goldman's like, What's Cracking with Scotty Goldman? Okay. So I got to give them credit there for giving me the platform to do it there. And we talked about it last week. I think that drawing that I did, the original drawing that I drew, I posted on social media that I drew up with like the one-legged ties to spiked hair. My mom still has that framed in her house. I got her to take a picture of it. TTD turned it into like an artwork thing, and now it's a T-shirt. ProWrestlingTees.com/Matt Cardona.
Yeah, I saw the picture that you posted from your mom, but I did not see the T-shirt yet. I don't know
it's really, he took my drawing and made it like digital, I guess.
That is cool. All right,
yeah, so
check it out.
It's up there. ProWrestlingTees.com/Matt Cardona. And that's all. Another thing I have, I wish I would have named the episodes.
Right. Like,
so they're just named episode 1, episode 2. Right. I wish I would have named them something.
Yeah.
Because even now, or especially then, when I had to go back, it's like, well, what episode did this happen?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No clue.
Yeah.
No
Getting
clue.
over the fence would be a perfect.
Right.
Zack Ryder needs to get over.
And that would be the thumbnail.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the thumbnail on that one. It might be randomly. But it should have been the thumbnail by design, and that should have been the title.
Right.
But even now, we're going to just keep them. Episode MC True Not Story 1, 2, that we're to follow up and to make it sync with the other
maybe
ones.
We could do something neat. Well, the thumbnails will be better for these episodes. You'll see some big part of the episode.
Yes. So TTD, so I watched the episode of advance, say, this is the thumbnail I want you to use. What it should have been. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
So that's all I have for follow-up.
All right. Well, let's move on to this next segment here. I want to talk about what you were doing this week. This is super interesting. No matches, technically.
Okay.
So February 15th, I actually mentioned this last week. Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov defeat Primo and Zack Ryder on Superstars. That was filmed February 15th. It aired February 17th. So when you launched the show, that match was airing.
So DCP didn't happen yet.
I guess it didn't happen yet.
And that's why I talk about it in episode 2.
Okay, there you go. So that happens. You put the thing up February 17th. Episode 2 goes up February 24th, but you don't have a match on TV that week. So you don't have another match technically until 2/28.
Okay.
And that's Santino and Kozlov defeat Primo and Zack Ryder on Superstars again.
Again.
So you skipped episode 98 of Superstars and went to episode 99.
And no live event house shows?
No house shows at all. So I'm wondering, like, do you have any memory at all of, like, you put up episode 1. Did you go to TV? You would have been at TV, right?
Yeah, I went to all the TVs.
Okay. But theoretically, maybe there was a backstage something, but no matches. Yeah. Okay. Now, you said you were on SmackDown. I also wanted to ask you this.
No, at this point, I'm on Raw.
Okay, at this point, I'm on Raw. What are the loops? When do you fly
typically
out?
A loop, typically, a loop would be you leave Friday morning to wherever. You do the show that night. You drive. You do the show Saturday. You drive. You do the show Sunday. You drive. You do Raw Monday.
Okay.
And then they would tape SmackDown on Tuesdays. But at this point, there's different rosters.
So and then the SmackDown roster is doing a different loop that leads to Tuesday.
Right. So they go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Okay. Now, on a weekend where you don't have any of the house shows, would you have just flown in that Sunday night to the TV?
Right. I would just fly in Sunday night to TV.
Was it weird for you to not get house show matches, or does that just happen sometimes?
By that, around that time, it'd probably be like 50-50.
Okay.
Maybe 75 yes, 25 not.
What is your headspace when you get your travel and you don't have to leave until Monday?
I hated it.
Oh.
Hated it.
Okay.
Because that's how you made money. By working shows.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You get paid per show. So if you're working once, you're getting paid whatever, $500. You're working 4 times, that's times 4.
Because the downside in 2011 isn't that great?
No, not at all.
It's fine, but not great.
I mean, it's the most money I ever made in my life. But before this, I was working at Gold's Gym as a personal trainer with no clients. I worked at a deli, and I worked at a pizza place. So is it way better than that? Absolutely. I'm not complaining by any means, but it wasn't like, these big bucks. It was not 6 figures.
When does Superstars tape back then?
Superstars would tape before Raw.
And it would be a couple of matches.
Yeah, they always do those kind of shows, whether it be Sunday. Like every show like that starts off hot, right? Like it's going to be a big deal. And then it fizzles out into what it always becomes, whether it be Shotgun Saturday Night or Heat or Superstars or Main Event. It always starts off hot. And then by the end, it's, It is what it is.
Right.
It's like, I had fun doing Superstars and stuff like that because obviously I'd rather do that than nothing. Even at the very end of WWE, my WWE run, I'd rather be on Main Event than not do anything.
Oh yeah.
But those matches like they went to die. Like nobody ever saw them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially
they
now.
went like overseas, and you had to be like an absolute diehard to like find it on the network or Hulu or something like that. It's actually now I see like WWE actually posts about it like in real time. Like Ricochet's taking on Ali this week on Main Event, which I think is great because these guys are busting their ass on these shows. And to be honest, some of my favorite matches took place on Superstars or Main Event where I've had actual time, you know, where it wasn't like get it done as quick as you can, or you have 6 minutes. You know, you have 2-segment matches and they're fun.
Right.
And it's usually like the first and second match of the night and the crowd is on fire.
I was just going to say that. There was one time where I was doing extra work and Brian had a match on Main Event, and it's the first match, or Superstars or whatever. It was the first match that people were seeing. So they are hot. And It's just Brian versus whoever doing a regular match.
Right. But on the flip side of that, and this is something I never understood either. Like I get the old school mentality of like, got to build the card, right? You know, I get it. But at the same time, they tell you, you know, to grab the brass ring. Well, so you can't have this kick-ass match if they're telling you, well, you can't go to the floor. Oh, no, you can't do this dive. Oh, you can't do this move. One time, I kid you not, I was told I can't do a baseball slide because Ronda Rousey was doing it like in a match later on a Raw. A baseball slide.
Right.
A baseball slide, Mark.
Okay.
We're talking about a baseball slide. You think anybody in the arena is like, oh my God, Zack Ryder did a baseball slide 2 hours ago. Nobody's thinking that. Nobody. So I learned, this is totally off topic, but I learned that when because you have to tell your matches to the producer for camera shots, stuff like that.
Yep.
I would know how to call things in a way I wouldn't tell them what I was doing.
Right.
So for instance, if I'm taking a superplex and I'm wrestling, you know, Mike Kanellis, it's like I'm on the apron, Mike Kanellis grabs me and he throws me back into the ring.
Yeah.
Via a superplex. I just don't say that because if I say I'm taking a superplex, the producer will, no, you can't take a superplex in the Main Event. Superstars. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to word it and phrase it.
Interesting. Okay. All right, so let's quickly talk about, we didn't talk about this last week. We had a lot to talk about with your career, but in professional wrestling, you know, things kind of, at least in my mind, things really meld together, especially like post-Attitude Era and stuff like that. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about like what's happening on TV. So February 21st, you post the first episode, Raw, February 21st. Here is the main event. The Core, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel with Wade Barrett, and Ezekiel Jackson defeat The Miz with Alex Ryder and John Cena, who's the champion, to win the WWE Tag Team Championships. So Heath is winning the Tag Team
The Core? Not the Nexus?
The Core, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel.
Wow. Huh. Okay.
Also,
if I'm not mistaken, the Core's on SmackDown and Cena and Miz are on Raw.
Well, this is the Raw results from February 21st. Huh. CM Punk defeats John Morrison as well. I think at this point, like people were really just banging around.
Maybe. I mean, also last week we talked about The Rock comes back, which is huge.
Right.
The Rock's going to be The Rock had not been in WWE for a while. He's going to be the host of Mania. It's a big deal.
Yes. On SmackDown, the main event is Edge, John Cena, John Morrison. Yeah, so Morrison's on both shows.
Okay.
John Morrison, R-Truth, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and they defeat CM Punk, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre. Who's not the same Drew McIntyre then as he is now.
Right.
King Sheamus and Wade Barrett in a 12-man tag team match, 20 minutes. So that's the main event.
Everything's a big mishmash then. Okay.
On SmackDown. And then just for shiz, as an Impact superstar right now, over at TNA, we have Mr. Anderson defeating Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam in a three-way match in 13 minutes. We also have Madison Rayne, ODB, Crimson, Magnus, Gunner, Murphy, Eric Young. These are people on the show.
Okay.
Also, something to note, SmackDown ratings for that week, 1.8. Okay, we're talking now for reference. People are freaking out about like the 1.2s that are happening, 1.5s. Okay. But TNA on Spike TV in 2011, I just thought this was interesting, 1.3.
Wow.
So that is a really high rating, and a 1.3 is technically higher than like what AEW is doing right now.
That's wild to think about. Wow.
All right, here we go. Episode 2 of Z True Long Island Story.
Yeah,
First thing to note, logo.
So I believe I got this from Steve Zickos. If someone else made it, please reach out, and I apologize.
So you put the episode up, and then Steve, who your friend?
No. I must have tweeted something like, hey, who can make me a logo?
Okay.
So.
And then Steve Zickos, who you've, assuming you've worked with a little bit.
So I worked with him the whole run through Z True Long Island Story. Never worked with him prior. Haven't worked with him since.
Wow.
But he would make like all my graphics, all the lower thirds. So I want to say he made that very first one, but it might not be him because if you look carefully, it's not exactly the same as the future ones. It's slightly different.
Oh, so maybe it was
colors.
somebody and then Steve remade it.
Right. So it's like the same like spoof of True Hollywood Story, but the colors are not, it's not the exact logo I use later on in the series.
Okay. And then no music. You know, the
haven't figured that out yet.
Haven't figured that out. You do have a backdrop though, and
this is funny. So I do have a backdrop in my apartment. I had some of my figures on display, so I guess that counts as use of figures.
Yeah.
Keep it on a tally. But it was like on a high shelf, like over my head. So for me to get in front of that, I had to stand on a little like step stool.
Okay. And so that's all that. So what we're looking at in this episode is your entire figure display in 2011.
Right. So of me, I kept that. Like how like ridiculous is that? Like in my actual apartment, those were just like out, like in the living room.
I mean, in 2021, that's totally fine to me. Maybe it was weird back then.
Yeah.
But also, I'm more alarmed that your collection and display has grown.
Right. Obviously, I have a lot more Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder figures now, but then that was the collection. I was very proud of it.
Right.
But yeah, so I would have to get up on a step stool and record like that because that was the backdrop. Because I realized after the first one, I'm like, oh my God, that sucks. And I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what quite yet, so I figured this will kind of work for now.
Coming into the second episode, I meant to ask this. How was the response initially? There was a point when this show took off. It might have been around episode 8 or something. And when we get to it, maybe you'll know. But what were you like, whoa, when you put the first episode up?
Yeah,
or were you
I want to say the first week got like 30,000 views, which I thought was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I thought it was incredible because I had like zero TV time, at least. Okay, if I was on TV, it was like of no importance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And like I said, this was my outlet to show my personality, to blend Matt Cardona and Zack Ryder. And I think you see that a lot in this episode where it's more of the episode 1 where I'm just throwing a bunch of things against the wall. Not really seeing, like, I wasn't throwing things against the wall to see what stuck. I was just trying, if that makes sense, I was trying everything because I knew that was all me. I wasn't like putting on a show. I wasn't like pretending. I wasn't, I was like, let me show you all of me and see what you guys, gravitate towards. Does that make sense?
Yep, for sure.
I wasn't doing things just for the sake of doing them.
Who was, so who are your like close friends right now? Who are you on loops with? Who are you talking to?
Ziggler, Miz, Morrison, Punk. It's around this time I start my relationship with Cena as a friend because I think he appreciates that I'm taking a chance on myself, and he sees that I'm betting on myself essentially, and and later on he helps out big time with the show. But that's when I first started, now John and I are friends. Before, I wouldn't say I was friends with him by any means. He was nice to me. He'd give me advice, but we weren't friends by any means.
Was there any kind of response from them? You're like, hey guys, I put this up.
Yeah, I think everyone was checking it out, and I think people started to give me the retweets and stuff like that, which I said last week was huge.
Right.
For
sure. Okay, so then you're going to episode 2, and you're saying to yourself, like, I got to step this up, or...
Well, like we talked about last week, I knew it had to be an every week thing, every Thursday, whatever. Whether it came out at 9 a.m., noon, 8 p.m., I was going to get it out every Thursday so people would know Zack Ryder show comes out Thursday. Mm-hmm. I just knew that was very important. Like any show on television, you know, any podcast you listen to now comes out on the same day. Routine, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So early on, you just mentioned this thing about Hacksaw, and you say his catchphrase is "ho," and then you say something about your ex-girlfriend, and then you seemingly have an inside joke with Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah. So,
so what's the story?
So I use a Hacksaw Jim Duggan foam 2x4, which I had, and again, topical. He's in the Hall of Fame. How can I take this, make a little joke, and apply it to me? You know, and I said my ex-girlfriend was a ho,
right?
And which I don't think you could say that these days.
Oh no, yeah,
no.
But there used to be a ho train, and the other day you played No Mercy on Twitch, and you were a ho.
Yeah, you know, we'll see how times have changed.
Right.
But the Hawkins reference was because, you know, after she and I broke up, long story short, I found out that they had a little fling because I was stalking her photos or maybe her friend's photos on Facebook, and I saw a photo of her on his lap, like in his living room at the time. And there was a huge like Kurt Hawkins, a huge Kurt Hawkins like custom fat head. Remember fat heads, like those giant wall stickers?
Yeah.
Like it was a Kurt Hawkins custom fat head holding up the tag team title, so there was no dispute. You know, it wasn't someone who looked like Hawk. It was Hawkins.
Right.
And when I called him out on it, he said, "Yeah, I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to get mad."
Oh man, I think that you guys mentioned this, but briefly on the podcast.
Guys, it's all good. It's water under the bridge. We joke about it now.
Well, you stole his figures, and then he stole your girl. So it's even. It's even.
Also, another note I have on here is the DZP, which I think is very important.
Yeah, okay.
I think this is when Primo and I first start the team, and I remember I had pitched this actually. And I had pitched, before I pitched with Primo, I had pitched for me and Ziggler, because this is before Ziggler was really doing anything.
Okay.
And I wanted to be almost, and I used the same pitch for Primo, like a modern day New Age Outlaws, like two guys, undercard guys who aren't doing anything, come together as a team and really just take off. You know, start kicking ass, showing the personality.
Win all the belts.
What's that?
Win all the belts.
Win all the belts.
Yeah.
And you know, Rockabilly, the real Double J, Jesse James, they were nobodies until they became the New Age Outlaws. Right. So I wanted, you know, Zack Ryder and Primo to come together. And then one of the writers, his idea was DZP, to play off of the, you know, on Jersey Shore, the GTL. So like Gym Tan Laundry. So yep. DZP, down with Zack and Primo. I didn't really like it, but I'm like, whatever. If you guys want to do this, I'll go for it, because it was my idea. If you want to put your spin on it, right. I'll 100% go for it. But you know, an idea has no legs when they're debuting you on Superstars.
Right.
And you're losing.
So we think that was the debut the week before.
One of those are the debut, and we come out and we talk. We have a quick little promo. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right.
Another thing that I have on my notes here is, so at the time, I'm not wearing my shirt anymore. I'm wearing like this Gold's Gym stringer tank top, showing off my muscles. But I make a joke that the headband is not available anywhere. You can buy my shirt on WWE Shop, but the headband is not available anywhere. And another thing of note is that, you know, in episode 1, I'm mid promotion for that T-shirt, that basic shirt. People who would watch that episode months later thought it still applied. Oh. That I buy this shirt, I get the autograph. No. It was only like a month long or whatever. But people are watching the episode 2 months, 5 months, 8 months later, tweet me, I bought the shirt. I didn't get an autograph.
Right. Wow.
You know, there should have been a little disclaimer at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, if we ever do something like that again.
Right.
Okay. So the headband thing is interesting because it was the first time that you were really kind of, I feel, sympathetic. You became like a sympathetic character on the show. And it made you, as a fan, if you're watching this and you're like, I like this guy, like, yeah, where is his headband? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I wasn't looking for sympathy or sympathy.
No, but it's more like the baby face, like underdog type stuff. Not sympathy,
it was
underdog.
kind of, and it was weird because I was a heel. So I felt like I could bitch and moan a little bit without being whiny. But I was also I wasn't like, poor me, my headband's not here. I made a joke like, buy my shirt on WWE Shop and the headband is not available anywhere. Like, it was funny. I was kind of poking fun at myself that I don't have a headband for sale.
Well, yeah, so I mentioned that in my notes here. The self-deprecation is apparent, and is this something that like you... I don't necessarily... I've known you now for 3 years. I don't necessarily see that as your main humor, if that makes any sense. Like, was it...
I think at this time, I was very aware of my spot on the card and the perception that fans had of me. So if fans perceive you as a quote unquote, and I hate this word, jobber, right? They can't call you that or make fun of you if you're already saying it about yourself.
Right.
Because, I mean, they could say it, but it's not it doesn't come off as an insult if I'm already saying it.
Yep.
Like, oh, you don't even have a headband for sale. Well, if I say that, it doesn't offend me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it 100%.
Right. So if I'm making fun of myself for not being on TV, the insult of, you can't even get booked. Well, it's not really, well, I know, I just said that.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know if
you're
it was a defense mechanism. I don't know.
Yeah. I get
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So the weirdest thing in this whole episode, I don't remember ever this being a thing, but what the hell is the nail salon at? What? So you do your first cutaway.
And that's definitely a cell phone.
So you cut away to video footage of you at the nail salon getting your feet manicured.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, like, was this some sort of ploy to get his feet in the thumbnail? Like I don't really. It's just literally like 15 seconds of you, no sound, no joke, doesn't go anywhere.
And actually, look at the quality of that footage. That's what a cell phone camera
horrible,
looks like.
exactly,
Right.
like straight.
So, full disclosure, Chip Hedda and I would go get mani-pedis every once in a while.
Okay.
And I guess I was just filming things because, like I said, I didn't have a formula yet. I didn't have a format yet. I didn't know what was going to work. So I was just showing everybody me, like, here I am, and seeing what people would get attracted to.
Right.
They weren't really into the manicure pedicure thing, but whatever. And was that self-deprecating? I mean, I didn't think so. I could see how people would think so.
It's also you admitting, like, yeah, I do it, and I'm proud of it.
Exactly. Right. There
people would be like, you go get your feet done.
Right. Exactly. Like, well, so yeah, I do it, and so what? Who cares? Right. That was my mindset.
I think it was for the foot fetish people, but
also, something I saw in here. I talk about Ziggler, and I get like three things in here in once. Okay. The "Are you serious, bro?" which becomes like my catchphrase.
Okay.
It's something I just started organically saying. It wasn't like, I'm going to make this my catchphrase.
Okay.
And it just came, it would come off the tip of my tongue in matches. If someone, would do something, I'd be like, are you serious, bro? Like something like that,
Right.
And then like I realized, whether it be watching my matches back or people were saying it to me like through tweets, I realized, I do say that a lot.
Okay.
So I started consciously around that time, okay, maybe now let's start making this something. Let's start getting this in.
Okay. I didn't even notice it, and I'm embarrassed. I did not even notice you say it, but I think it's just become such a part of you that it seemed too normal to me.
Right. I also throw in a New York Wrestling Connection inside joke because I guess on TV he got fired, so I tell him to embrace the new wave, and that I would always wear an NYWC T-shirt that said "Embrace the New Wave" on the back. So it was like an inside joke for about 15 people.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Right.
I thought the Hawkins girlfriend joke too was inside, but I guess people could understand where you were going with that. You also mentioned Miz and Morrison. You talked about it earlier. These are your buddies. You're bringing them onto the show. These are the first mention. Obviously, Miz, Morrison, Ziggler all become big parts of the show later on.
It's funny. Miz actually doesn't.
Oh.
He doesn't actually. But yeah, so the woo, the real backstory is that one of Hawkins' friends actually started saying it at like bars and clubs. And some of my friends were friends with Hawkins' friend. No. someone you don't know. So then my friend started saying woo woo woo. So then I started saying woo woo woo.
And
it wasn't.
What do you mean saying it? What does that even mean?
So like at the bar, like if a hot girl walked by, to like woo woo woo, like to get her attention or something like that. And it would never work.
Right.
But you would say it.
But your boys would pop and
yeah, or like if you're like this is all stuff that like you wouldn't do now.
Yeah.
Like you just wouldn't do now. And then later on I found out my friends got it from Brian's friend, but it was something that people would say. Even I would say it. I would say it more as a joke, and I realized this is so obnoxious and annoying. I need to get this on TV. So it was one night I believe we're in Laredo, Texas. Chavo Guerrero, the man, legendary shirt taker offer. If he's at a club or a bar, he got us some private club. It was after a SmackDown. So we're still Hawkins and Ryder edgeheads at this time. Like the edgeheads are over, but we're still Hawkins and Ryder a team. And I'm so like drunk that I keep like screaming it like, woo, 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 woo. You know it. Because another one of my friends would say, you know it all the time. So like, I think one day I made a joke, like, let me see if I can get it on TV just to pop my friend. And then I just combined them. And I was saying it like so obnoxiously that Miz and Morris like, oh, we got to get this on the dirt sheet. And eventually I got on Scotty Goldman's show saying the same thing. It was obnoxious and annoying. And that was the original goal.
Did you set it up as a skit in that show, like that you were saying it to a girl or something like that?
The little pitch that we put on YouTube that's still up there, that's how I would use it. But in there, I don't know. I don't really recall when I think I was just saying it like it's my new catchphrase. Like everyone needs a catchphrase. Here's my new catchphrase.
Did you ever have to explain it to Vince?
I did not, no.
So he's just okay with you saying woo 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 on his television? I
guess so. It was everyone needs a catchphrase, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's all I can say. It was a catchphrase. It's how I would end, especially in ECW, that's how I would end the promos. And if you really think about it, it makes zero sense.
No,
I guess it makes sense, but the woo-woo makes zero sense.
Right. The woo-woo
I'm looking through the notes now.
You tan your face.
I tan the face. That's still the tanner I still use to this day. Banana boat.
I was going to ask that.
Banana boat.
Right.
Again, just doing things. Would I ever tan my face like that? Actually, yes, that's how I tan myself. So yeah,
with glasses and a headband on?
Yeah, would I do it with the headband and glasses on? No.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying anything. But I'm not trying.
Sorry, that headband is like something you had the gear person made.
Yeah, so this is before WWE made my headbands. So this is like just part of my gear.
Finish your thought here on tanning.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I was doing like so much of my personality. I wasn't like thinking what will be entertaining. I was just giving you all of me and seeing what stuck. Okay. I wasn't making things up for the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, and you go tanning and you say woo woo and you go to the nail salon. So this is all stuff, and it kind of makes sense with your character because you're
still a bad guy, still a heel, the Long Island douchebag. And like we discussed.
Thing.
What's that?
So the headbands. So you would just get them made with your gear so they matched. And
yeah, so like I'd get trunks, knee pad cover, headband.
Right.
Or if it's the one-legged tights, the one knee pad, headband.
Yeah. Okay.
The first time I ever had the headband, it was just a plain purple like sweatband. I wore something very similar, if not exact, on the Indies as Myers and Matthews.
Yep.
And I was wrestling Finley, and it's funny. This is my first match, and he took the headband and he threw it into the crowd. And I'm thinking like, oh no, it's my only headband.
Right. Yeah.
And since that was my debut, they wanted me in still photo, which is, where they take the photos, the professional photos. And I didn't have the headband. So I had to take an MVP headband and like wear it backwards. So it's just a plain black headband. So if you see the first ever studio shots of the woo-woo Zack Ryder, and you're wondering, like, why is he wearing a black headband? Well, it's because it's an MVP headband backwards.
Did you yell at Finley about it?
I did not yell at Finley about it.
Finley, thank you for throwing my headband into the crowd.
No.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But also in this episode, I talk about WrestleMania, how it's coming up, and I challenge the situation.
Right.
Because now Jersey Shore is a thing. It's popular.
Yep.
So I wanted to challenge him. I knew the internet was getting popular, that maybe this would go viral. You know what I'm saying?
I thought that was one of the smartest moves. If the 30,000 people that watched it start tweeting at the situation,
right?
Yeah, then
Who
you
knows?
might have a situation.
You never know.
Yeah.
Because that's a big money match, and it makes sense.
Right.
Didn't happen. Didn't happen. I believe this is the year that Snooki ends up at WrestleMania.
Like literally next month, Snooki's at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
With Ziggler or something, or who is it?
With
Morrison?
She teams with Morrison.
Right.
She's actually on Z Trolling a Story because I show a screenshot of like an interaction I had with her on Raw.
Okay.
And I think that might be one of the first episodes that gets flagged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I had for the notes. Is there anything else on your 8x10?
Well, I have a couple more notes.
Okay.
So, the LI hand pose that I'm doing.
Yes.
Like, where does this come up from? Right. I mean, now I don't do it anymore, you know? Mm-hmm. But it was so synonymous, if I'm using the right word, with Zack Ryder.
Yep.
And it would always bother me when people would go like the other way. I'd say like other side, jackass. They do like the other way.
Yeah.
But when I knew I was going to do this woo character, and I knew I was, I wanted to come out to like club music and stuff like this is like so ridiculous. There was this song. It was called like Medicine. It was this big like club hit in like the spring of 2009, and I would play it in my bedroom, and I'd like do like my entrance like in my bedroom, and I'd walk like up a chair like it was a turnbuckle, and I'm like, well, what can I do with my hands? What kind of pose can I do? And like I'm like, oh my God, LI Long Island, like, this is it. This is it.
Okay. No, so the O Radio, that's not your music yet here?
No, it is. It is, which I loved.
Yeah.
The first time I ever came out to that, I didn't know what my music was going to be.
Stop.
Yeah, I had no idea.
You had no input at all. They just play your music. You're
zero idea. The whole thing happened relatively quickly. I had no clue.
So then you have to listen to back. I wear my sunglasses inside.
It was. I love the song, and actually the first version is slightly different than the one that ends up sticking. It's like the same song, but like that happens a lot in like wrestling. Even like Jericho's song, like the first time I ever came out to it, slightly different. Than the one everyone's used to. Wow,
I'm blown away. I would always assume that you had way more insight into.
Listen, Jim Johnston, he wrote that. If you listen to Jim, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful tune. I love that song. It was so well done, and it's so clearly written for me.
Yep.
Like and it was so fascinating. Is like he got the gimmick, and that's why he was so talented, right? Like he only had idea. I hadn't even debuted yet. He hadn't even seen me yet. And he just knew what the gimmick was supposed to be. And if you listen to like, verse 2, it gets even like more like it's so great.
Did you have like a meeting with him about it or the writers told him?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
So
the writers showed him a picture, assuming?
What's that?
So the writers must have showed him a picture or something.
But there was what I'm saying is there was no pictures of me yet. I hadn't done it.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the day I debut as the woo guy, like on ECW, I also film Superstars, which at the time, this is when Superstars was still like a real show. So I'm also my debut on Superstars against Finlay, So it was like 2 birds, 1 stone. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I hadn't wrestled yet or took any photos before the song was made.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
What else for your notes?
That's all I have for notes.
All right, so episode 2, 346 as of right now, and this is so weird because, like you said, almost a million views for episode 1, but that's just people who search. If you search in Google Z True Long Island Story, episode 1 comes up first. So people have watched that episode. I'm interested to see some episodes that have more, but if some episodes have more than 2, so 346,690 currently. It's 2 minutes and 53 seconds, which is like almost a minute shorter than last week. But still great numbers. 346,000. Take that. Characters debuted. Nail salon lady. Don't know if she ever comes back. So there's that. But you do mention Hawkins, Ziggler, Miz, and Morrison in this one. And that's it for this week. Obviously, guys, we might forget some things if you, whatever.
And that's what the follow-up is about.
Exactly.
For next week.
Exactly. So
Perfect.
let us know.
All right, so know your bro every week. It's a Q&A essentially.
Yep.
On Twitter, use the hashtag know your bro. If we read your question on air, I will send you a signed 8x10. Smart Mark's going to pick the questions. I don't want to know the questions, and it has to be based off the current episode. So for next week, if you want to be eligible, go watch episode 3 of the Trolling Out Story. And then use the hashtag know your bro.
Right. A lot of people asking, questions about like your favorite figure or whatever. We're not going to ask that.
No, we're not doing that. Save that for the Major Wrestling Group podcast.
Right. Okay. Kurt Zamora at KTankTJR. We kind of talked about this already, but maybe we can get a little further into it. Know your bro. Episode 2, you make the comment that the shirt is for sale, headband is not. Is that a piece of merch you're fighting for at this time? Are you actually talking to people about this headband? And how long before you feel you were gaining traction towards the original Broski shirt or more merch? So like you said you launched that episode. Was there, and you said that people were trying to use it for a long time, but was there a clear jump in sales that you knew of at the time?
Oh, there had to have been because of the autograph promotion.
Right.
It was working.
Right. And that was the first time you mentioned the autograph thing, or were you also saying it on the internet?
Oh, I had been doing it for like a month or so already on my Twitter.
Okay.
So by the time the episode comes out, it's like the tail end of the promotion.
Right. But do you notice any jump in anything after that first episode, sales-wise, or not really?
I mean, I'm not privy to like instant reports of the sales.
Right.
But without a shadow of a doubt, the show takes off in a way where we get into it later. The amount of merch that comes out is absolutely crazy.
Right.
There's garden gnomes. There's slippers. But I am pushing for a headband. I'm pushing for it because it's such a now WWE shop. I think it's closer now to how it should have always been, where there's just so much merch. Now I don't know what their minimums are. I don't know how much they're ordering, right? But before it was like, oh well, we can't bring this to the venue. I'm like, listen, I'm not asking you to bring the Zack Ryder headband to the venue. Eventually, of course, it is at the venue and it's selling great at the venue. But at this point, I'm like, just put it on the shop. Put it on the shop. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And they don't do anything, which is nuts. I mean, they do now a little bit, but they don't do like the made to order that Pro Wrestling Tees does.
They tried that, and they just didn't do a good job with it. I mean, you look at Pro Wrestling Tees, how like ahead of the curve they were and currently are, and like how come this is something I never understood. Like, and they do have this customs. I believe they still do have this custom website in WWE shop.
Yeah, but
like.
It's called like custom, and then you're like,
what if there is like this? And maybe I'm using someone who does have a shirt, but for example, like maybe there is this Drew Gulak fan base, and they want something. Like, why not cater
or more than the one thing that they've made?
Yeah, why don't they cater to that niche or that niche? Is it niche or niche?
I don't know. I say niche.
But I never understood. Like, they're such a big company. I'm not saying order 10,000 or 1,000. Especially now if you have this print-to-order model, and some of the print-to-order shirts are like embarrassingly bad. Like, make a good design, at least. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But then,
like, you don't have to worry, and the wrestler can say one thing. You can make that a shirt, and then did it sell a ton of units? Then you know, like, okay, well, this wrestler has something too. So
right. So to answer the question, like, how long is it until I realize, okay, we got something here? I think like I realize kind of quickly, but it's not. So like I think it's I realize first, or okay, let me backtrack. The fans realize first, then I realize, then the merchandise department realizes, and then like WWE realizes.
Okay,
in that order. So it's around summertime, I believe, that I get the shirt. But even having this basic shirt was a huge deal for me. I loved it. And like, did I want a regular shirt? Of course I did. But like, I was just so proud that I had this, and I was going to treat this shirt like it was Austin 316. That's how I was going to promote it. That's how I was going to plug it. And I was going to, and in retrospect, I should have worn it in this episode. Why didn't I? Why was I wearing that Gold's Gym tank top? I should have been wearing that shirt. Honestly, I probably didn't have any left. Something probably happened.
You gave it to a fan for sure.
Yeah. But later on, I'm really, really hands-on with the merch. And even now, merch is something I've always been fascinated about because A, I collected it,
Yep.
And B, like, I was just always fascinated by the process of like, what do people like? What is in style now? And by in style, I don't mean like, I mean like for instance, like pins are in right now. Cards are in. You know, I don't think pins were in 2011. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure there were pins, but like it wasn't like a thing.
But
you know
spiky hair wigs, 2011.
Spiky hair wigs become a thing. Yeah. And when the headband comes out, at first I'm like devastated. Because if you actually buy a WWE shop headband, it's like not connected. There's Velcro. And I'm like, no, that's not like the headbands I wear. No.
Right.
And I was so like devastated. But then eventually like I'm fine with it. And ended up getting my headbands to match those.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know?
Well, hey, everyone's got different size heads.
That's a good segue. I don't know. I know you didn't do this purposely, but Broski of the Week headbands will be available very, very soon on MattCardonaMerch.com. So it's the Broski of the Week headband on a nice purple headband, and it's the one-piecer. It's all solid. No Velcro.
Is this
so
this
like
is
the original
Pro
headbands?
Wrestling Tees because Brian is the man.
No, these aren't on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh, they're not. Okay.
No. So if you really want, hey, listen, I'll be transparent. They were going to be on Pro Wrestling Tees because Pro Wrestling Tees can do print-to-order headbands. I was all set on doing them. However, in the Howard Finkel voice, they can only do Young Buck style headbands, which like have the tie.
Yep.
That's not my style headband.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're going to
different.
do this, we're going to do it right.
Yep.
We're going to do it right. And I understand that that's how he set up for print-to-order, so we couldn't do it. So I had to, Kaneki, thank you for listening. He got them. TTD designed it. So those will be for sale very, very soon. If not already. Actually, no, very, very soon on MattCardonaMerch.com. And guys, I'm not going to be wearing the headband to the ring, you know, but it's like a throwback piece.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can wear it to the ring if you are going to the ring.
Yeah. Or if you're sitting in the crowd or sitting at home watching me on Impact or something, you can be wearing it.
All right. Well, speaking of Pro Wrestling Tees, ProWrestlingTees.com/MajorWFPod, ProWrestlingTees.com/MattCardona, ProWrestlingTees.com/SmartMarkSterling.
Yeah, plug yourself, Mark. Build your own brand.
I have a big, I have a shirt coming up this week for something that I did maybe yesterday. But also here today, I told you a new shirt every week. Here's my Arn Anderson 4 Horsemen style shirt. I got Pro Wrestling Tees.
Well, Mark, what about the shirt I'm wearing right now? The MC True Long Island Story shirt. For sale, ProWrestlingTees.com/MajorWPod and ProWrestlingTees.com/MattCardona. It's on both sites.
Cool.
Yeah, guys, just please leave a review. Please, whether you listen to the podcast or, watch on YouTube, give the thumbs up, leave a comment, tweet about it, tell a friend. Screenshot whether you're watching on YouTube or that you're listening to the podcast, tweet about it, post on Instagram. We need you. We don't have the name yet. It's not the Ryder Revolution. It's something.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this together. And it's going to be fun. We're going to see where it goes.
Yeah. Keep telling. I love the tweets that you're watching it, that you like it. And then just tell your friends, because this original show, was spread because of that.
Yes,
30,000 views in the first week because everyone was helping. Did you check out what this guy did this week and all that stuff?
Right.
Also, I did want to note, as a video producer, you're watching these shows with us right now, 10 years later, and you're saying to yourself, the quality is horrible. How did this work? Well, in 2011, that is one of the better quality videos that you would find on YouTube. 480p is like as high as you get in 2011,
So those aren't 1080p. Those are like 780.
That's 480p. That's what I'm saying. So,
oh my God,
horrible, bad sound, whatever. But that's what we're used to now. You're seeing 4K videos on YouTube now in 2021. Back then, no. Back then it was perfect.
WWE uses 8K now for some things. Right?
Crazy.
But yeah,
right,
guys,
we'll
please
sign us out, dude.
Yeah, guys. By the way, I'm working on getting my Facebook page back.
Like me on Facebook.
So pretty soon, but not yet. Like me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Instagram's a thing now.
Yeah.
And buy all the merch on Pro Wrestling Tees. Take care. Spike your hair. See you guys.